I just really wanted to say the video that you guys shared earlier, Armin and Goldie, of His Royal Highness Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, the speech that he gave directed at, I guess it was Europeans in general, European media. That was so good to see and to hear because, like,
Do you
he
want me
said,
to before you continue? Do you want me to play it so that everybody else here has context?
"Oh yeah, maybe everyone hasn't seen it here."
Let me
Yes,
play it,
thank you,
and
please.
and then I'll play it, and then you could tell us what you wanted to say, okay? And also, guys, please note that he's not blaming the European people. He's talking to the European people. He's blaming European politicians and European journalists. So keep that in mind. If you're European here, he. This is not against you. This is for you. So let me play it because this was very important. Thank you for bringing this up. Hold on.
I have spent the past several weeks traveling across Europe, speaking to members of parliaments, governments, and the press. My visit had one objective: to give a voice to the millions of Iranians held hostage by the Islamic Republic, its terror, and its internet blackout. The millions of Iranians who have been silenced. But I can now say with confidence that silencing, that censorship, is not just happening at the hands of the regime in Iran, but by the international and particularly the European media. So I want to speak directly to the people of Europe. In the past 2 weeks, I have had 2 press conferences, one in Stockholm and one yesterday in Berlin. Between them, more than 150 journalists attended. We spent more than 2 hours together. And in those 2 hours, not a single of the 150 journalists asked me a question about the 40,000 Iranians slaughtered on the streets of my country on January 8th and 9th. Not a single of the 150 journalists asked me about the 19 political prisoners executed in the last 2 weeks. When I told them that there were 20 political prisoners currently sentenced to death, not a single one of the 150 journalists asked me about them. When I stood next to a mother whose son was killed and a father whose son was killed on January 8th and 9th, and asked them to hear their stories, not a single one of the 150 European journalists asked them a question. Here, in the heart of a continent that claims to stand for human rights, justice, and dignity, its journalists have fully abdicated their professional responsibilities and even their moral objectivity. It is clear to me that my 40,000 brave, innocent compatriots who were slaughtered in the fight for liberty are of little interest to these journalists. They seem more interested in criticizing America, asking why the United States and Israel killed the dictator that has slaughtered our people for 47 years, than criticizing the regime doing the slaughtering. They seem more interested in asking questions about Iran's past and history than about what is happening in Iran today or about the democratic future Iranians are seeking. One member of parliament even told me they didn't think Iranians were ready for democracy. But to that member of parliament, to those journalists, I remind you, Iranians aren't just ready for democracy. 40,000 people just gave their lives for it. And I won't let that be in vain. So know this: Whether or not Europe stands with us, whether or not your journalists do their jobs, whether or not your politicians demonstrate the courage to act, I will fight for my people and my country. Even if we have to do this alone, we will fight until Iran is free.
Look at him. I've never, ever seen him this angry. Never. I've been following this man for years. Never have I seen him this angry. And you could also see he had a bit tears in his eyes. And when he was talking about the Iranians who seem not to matter. You know what, by the way? I know what would make them matter. If they were oppressed by Jews, then they would matter. If they were Palestinian, they would then they would matter. Not that the Jews are oppressing anybody, but if there were Jews involved, it's just it doesn't fit the narrative. And also they matter even less because they look up to Israel, because they consider themselves friends of Israel. So that makes them even matter even less and on the wrong side of history. Oh yeah, sorry, I am you were saying?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it was just really good to see and hear that. I feel like I've been wanting somebody to say something, someone who's really in position to say something like what he said. Nobody could have, there could have been nobody better to say it and to say what he did. Because I moved back here at the end of 2014. I grew up outside of Sweden, and ever since I came back, and especially since October 7th, and with everything that's been happening with the Iran revolution and what's actually going on, and I've been like, I know what's going on, but what I see, the actual media reporting and what people seem to think about it, it's horrible. Like, it's not just bad, it really drives you crazy having to see it and hear it because it's so offensive, it's so awful. um Actually, yeah, I remember you and Armin was sorry, you and Goldie, you and Armin had talked about Trita Parsi. He has a brother named Ruzbe Parsi who's here in Sweden, and they've featured him on TV like many times.
So for people who don't have context, these are the Islamic Republic lobbyists. And that's why you're referring to him because you're saying in Sweden they're featuring
Yeah,
him, even though he
yeah.
speaks on behalf of the Islamic Republic. Okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, as like an authority speaking on the subject, and they're all just saying nonsense. They're saying all this horrible nonsense that, oh, the USA is only in this because crazy Christians are taking over the government, and so there's Zionist Christian, and the Israelis, they have their messianic Zionists. They've actually said some crazy words, like they're straight up sounding like crazy conspiracy theorist on state TV at this point. It's absolutely horrific. And as someone who knows better, you just want to grab people by the shoulders and tell them what's actually going on, but you can't. It's like people are just brainwashed. So it's not always that simple, especially if, I don't know, if you're at work or something. But yeah, I just wanted to say basically that that meant so much to hear that. And I guess it's not likely, but I really hope that message will somehow go viral and be seen by many people in Europe because people need to hear that. It's horrible, the news and the media that we have to put up with here. I think most people don't even listen at all. It's ridiculous. They're not serious. They just want to keep people dumb or scared, unaware, just comfortable, just talking about the weather and I don't know, what are you going to do this summer for vacation? It's on it's like adult kindergarten level. And with all the horrible lies you can think of. Like, the media in the United States, I thought it was bad, but then I moved back here and it's been absolutely shocking. So he was right. He did not exaggerate at all. Everything that His Royal Highness said, and I have so much respect for him, it was just completely said perfectly. And yeah, it meant a lot to hear that. Sorry.
So let me no, that's thank you for saying that. I just want to quickly mention that it's interesting that Princess of Pahlavi posted this, because I was posting about this topic yesterday, and some people commented like, "What? Who are you to say what Europe should do? You're not European. Stop demanding Europe to do this and that. Fix your own problems." And I can't find that comment here, but I posted this yesterday exactly about this topic on YouTube and on my X account. And you got so many people from Europe considering it offensive. And I don't know if they even watched the video, because I'm only suggesting that Europe gets to do whatever Europe wants to do. But we also get to call out the fact that they don't stand for human rights. Like, obviously, we can't demand Europe to do anything. Like, it's their own decision. But they can't also stop the rest of us to show the hypocrisy where they pretend to be on the side of human rights while also accusing United States and Israel to be the main violators of human rights. It was actually United States and Israel that came to the aid of the Iranian people. And it was the European countries who pretend to be on the side of human rights. Not all European countries, right? Ukraine, for example, was helping. But many European countries, especially UK and France, their government, that not only did they not help, they actually helped the Islamic Republic by trying to get in the way of United States and Israel to finish the job. So a lot of people have to understand that for these European countries, when they talk about human rights and they act like they advocate for it and they fight for it, this is a this is not because necessarily for love of people. This is a political strategy. This is a branding of Europe as a way to increase your soft power. Having the image that you stand for human rights is gives you political capital that you could use as leverage when you need to use that narrative to have influence politically internationally. So for the same European countries who use that strategy when they come talking about human rights, if access to energy is more valuable of an asset than the soft power that they gain from talking about pretending to be on the side of human rights, then they would not go against the Islamic Republic, because the energy that they don't want to turn the Islamic Republic into an enemy, because they don't want to lose that energy market, because that is more valuable than the value of the soft power and the leverage that you gain from having the image of being on the side of human rights. And they also think that some symbolic gestures and some few messages in support of the Iranian people can help them keep that branding while also not turning the Islamic Republic into such an enemy that they would lose access to the oil and gas market of within Iran. So our strategy is to call out the hypocrisy and to demonstrate, to basically try to reduce this asset that these European countries have, to show that they have failed. This is like the greatest massacre in our modern history, and these European countries have decided to continue relationship with our oppressors and betray the Iranian people, and that should be exposed more, and it should never be forgotten. We should tell European citizens that what their leaders are doing is going to be remembered in history with shame and disgust. The same way that the people who, like, for example, during World War II, the people who wanted to appease the Nazis and basically tolerate them and not fight against them, today we look at them with disgust and shame, and they will be remembered exactly the same way, while being the countries that their main branding is that we are on the side of human rights. United States and Israel will be remembered as the countries who came to the aid of the Iranian people.
I wanted to point out that what the prince was saying was further backed up by the fact that Spain is actively trying to create laws that would limit American media and limit American social media under the guise of Spain's right to protect itself from American freedom, because obviously that's the thing that the Spanish need. Whatever. Anyway, so that is just something that I would like to point out. Maybe I'll try to find a link later today so I can post it in school. But yeah, there's laws going around, at least in Spain, and I suspect in other European countries, because they don't want to get our filthy American freedom on them. It wouldn't be very highbrow. So there's that. Also, to the point that the quote unquote Iranians aren't ready for democracy, whoever that leader is can go fuck themselves, because you guys had an entire civilization while my own ancestors were running around chasing wild boars. So they can get bent. That's what I have to say about that. And I'm allowed to say it because it's my own people. So that guy can go fuck himself. That made me
Thank you for
so
saying it,
angry.
Shannon.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
end of.